So I've told you a bit about conscious birth, and hopefully I've sparked your curiosity and you're now thinking, I'm almost there, home birth, hospital birth, placenta, whatever. And so you may have some questions and answers. So what I'm going to go through now are the most frequently asked questions by couples to me. Also, you can get me on Skype, you can Zoom call with me, and we can set up one-to-one conversations so that you can have all of your questions answered as well in this way. So the most important thing that the father-to-be can do for his birthing partner is be present. It's kind of like the role of the doula, but slightly more intimate. And we do touch on this. We have a whole section on it in the Hypnobirthing where we will go into more extensive detail. But in a quick answer, what I would say is, by being present and supportive to the woman, it's like he will be the genie that grants all of her wishes. Whatever she needs, he'll provide for her. And he'll do so with love and with a smile on his face, and he won't take any of her demands or her bossiness or her edginess personally. What I've seen with the role of the birth partner, especially in the hospital, is that it's not completely present. All the focus is on the woman, and the husbands quite often feel disempowered, and they don't really know what to do, and they don't really know how they can help. So they too are quite often trusting in the medical team to do the best for their wives. And when things turn, they may say something and they can also be ignored. So the way that I work is really to bring the husband and the wife together so that all their decisions can be joint decisions, so that the husband fully understands the wishes of his birthing partner and why she's chosen to do something that way, so that he can be completely on side with her and support her wishes completely because he has all the information. And so I work in a way to help him, to bring him on board. Quite often, the husband needs support to be kept calm, to know what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. And this is also part of the preparation through the hypnobirthing as well. One important thing that I will mention is that when the husband and the wife were making their child, they didn't have an audience. There was nobody there pushing them along, coaching them through that process. What was at play? Well, it was the same hormone, oxytocin. They were in the throes of making love. There was passion involved. They were kissing and caressing and reaching an orgasmic climax. And why does it have to be any different in the birthing process? There is such a thing as orgasmic birth, and birth can truly be an orgasmic experience for the husband and the wife. And so the role of the midwives and the doulas can be in supporting that process by allowing the privacy of the husband and the wife to allow nature to fully take its course in birthing. So is home birth safe? I mean, surely my child will die if I have a birth at home. Well, home birth is safe, and there are so many statistics to support why a home birth is actually safer than a hospital birth. From my experience working in the hospital, what I see is that most high-risk pregnancies or most emergency situations, they have been caused by intervention. Quite often they want to speed up the labour. Things need to be done quickly. And so the labour in the hospital is not it's not conducive to the woman being able to labour in her own time, which is what she needs. And so once we start to interfere with that natural process, it's like a snowball effect, and it just ends up getting worse and worse and worse until eventually it ends up with a cesarean section at the end. So how do we prevent that from happening? Well, first, we have to trust that birth is a natural physiological process. How do we know this? We know this because before the introduction of medicine, which is actually a very new thing in the grand scheme of the length of time that human beings have been on planet Earth, that before medicine, women were birthing naturally with no intervention, without any form of medication, without technology, and they were having safe births. And so throughout this process, using the hypnobirthing, with this course, what it's going to do is prepare you to have that safe birth at home. So then you will know all the way through, because you have complete trust in the process, and you'll know how to identify and be aware of when an emergency scenario is emerging and how to respond to that emergency, and when a cesarean is completely necessary. Many of the women that approach me have already been fearmongered. They've gone to an antenatal at the hospital, for example, or at the doctor's surgery, and they've heard all the negative things. You can't have a baby at home because of your age, you're high risk, or you've got more than 3 kids and therefore you're high risk, or you're fat and therefore you're high risk. You know, all these things could mean high risk, but they also could not. And how do you know that you can have a home birth if you've been told all these things by your GP or by your midwife? Well, first things first, if you believe that you cannot have a baby at home because you're old, then you cannot have a baby at home, because your belief is going to stop you from doing that. So the first thing is using hypnobirthing to remove these mental blockages and these negative programs is first and foremost. If you believe that you can have a baby and your age doesn't matter, then you can have a baby and your age doesn't matter. Your age didn't matter when you got pregnant. Let's celebrate the fact that healthy women are pregnant. Healthy women keep pregnancies. When pregnancies aren't viable because of poor health or poor nutrition or anything, then they're not going to go through to full term anyway, quite often. They'll usually terminate within the first few weeks before the first 3 months, the first trimester. And so if you were beyond that point, congratulations, it's a good sign. You're a healthy woman, and this is why you are carrying your baby. And as long as you maintain a healthy pregnancy, eating the right foods, getting the right kind of exercise, having the correct mentality, positive thinking, hypnobirthing, the right type of breathing, all of this is going to mean that whatever you were told about why you can't have a natural birth, you can completely just tear that down, remove that, and prove that you can. And it happens, in my experience, again and again and again. And when people that I have birthed with have gone back to their general practitioner or their doctors, they've looked at them and said, you're a miracle. So, for example, one of them was VBAC, a vaginal birth after cesarean. They really believe that once you've had a cesarean, you can't have another one. It's not true. It could be true, but it's not entirely true. And when the lady that I birthed with had a vaginal birth after a cesarean, went into the hospital after the birth, she was told that she was a miracle because that cannot happen. Well, I'm here to tell you it can, and with the correct preparation and the correct mentality, anything and everything is possible.